Hello, my fellow hunters. Welcome to a bit of spooky Halloween fun. Today, we're going to look at what I believe to be the most unsettling, creepy, messed up monsters that give me a case of the, I'm gonna say it, heebie-jeebies. But therein lies a problem, right? Because you could quite easily argue every single monster in the game is absolutely nightmarish. Because let's be honest with ourselves, if we got put in front of Great Jagras all the way to Ruddy Fatalis, the result is probably going to be... oh my god! So with that all in mind then, I'm obviously looking for that special something, that extra mile in just being... oh, that is fucked up! It really tickles my horror box. So, a couple of honourable mentions, the first of whom is Gore Magala. How could it not be? Aside from his physical form, which I'll admit I find much more just badass than truly creepy, but mainly, of course, the Frenzy virus, because really, it's not technically zombies as we know them, but it's as close as Monster Hunter's ever gonna get. A poor, sorry little creature gets infected, has a momentary death, gets back up, fully taken over by this mind-bending affliction, and goes on a bloodthirsty rampage so potent it burns its life force out in days. Right, you're already faced with tyrannical monsters, and now they don't even have their instincts to keep them in check. Facing raw, reckless bloodlust is a test of any hunter's steel, and one I doubt many pass. So the other honourable mention then is Kezu, who I imagine many thought would actually appear on the list proper, but look, I'll be honest, the reason chiefly he's not is too many people can't take him seriously. Alright, and you all know why. I'm not going to spell it out for you, and just simply say, perhaps everyone needs immaturity sometimes. But I don't think it can be denied that having something that silent, that ominous, approach and strike without you suspecting a thing, to find yourself stuck in a fleshy prison as the muscles in his throat slowly contract in waves, dragging you deeper down, gripping you tight. There is nary a thing you can do but wait for the inevitable. The lower you go, the more slick with acidic saliva, burning away at your skin, exposing flesh, agony racking your body as daylight grows ever dimmer, before being sealed in a dark tomb, alive for now, but bleeding and melting. There's no one to hear your screams. Not a Kezu. Just don't die to a Kezu. And not to mention, in-game, I do think he has a certain something. The no music at first, I fully am on team that is kinda creepy, because it's just so different to what you're accustomed to. It adds this unnatural layer, and whether you think it enhances or takes away, it definitely leaves a mark. So, on then to the proper selection. Number 5 is Gobule. Hi! This one might be a tad surprising, although looking at him right, he is one spiky motherfucker. Like, that is quite the gob on him. Hey, Gobule. Oh my god! How has no one made this connection before? I need to tell the world! I am the smartest man alive! And actually, before we get into any of why I find him a little bit super spooksy, he does come in a literal witch form. Monster Hunter Explorer has a witch Gobule, and it's a sight. But look, alright, back to the real thing. He is based off an anglerfish, and I, for a little bit of backstory, am quite terrified of the ocean. I really cannot bring myself to even go for a dip in the sea beachside, because the paranoia, despite all logic and reasoning telling me otherwise, of something is definitely going to attack me out of nowhere. Something is definitely, oh my god, I'm gonna die, and it's something I have to deal with. So, a Leviathan was always going to be high up on my fear factor, and for me, Gobule takes that cake. In fact, he takes that cake in one fuck-off bite. But it is one thing to be attacked by something swimming beneath the waves. It bites into your side, blood starts to flow, you panic, you lash out, you thrash. But the adrenaline kicks in, and you think, do I have a chance here?
Maybe.
But with Gobule, much like an actual anglerfish, there is none of that. You don't even have time to be scared. Imagine being killed like that. You're swimming along, you get a little bit too deep, and in the blink of an eye, you are in the stomach of some ungodly presence. It honestly, just, I don't even like, I don't like thinking about it. I really, I can't, I just, no! Okay, so, moving on to number 4, we have, well, Val Herzog, because really, he is covered in rotting flesh. He lives in a pile of bloody corpses. He is the undead dragon. And while not literally undead, he might as well be. How could you not be a little bit unnerved? Yes, his fight's a joke, and it makes it hard to take him seriously. But when he first rises out that pile of unspeakable filth, when he first emerges, before you have any knowledge of what hell you have walked into, there is a certain something. You've just witnessed him drain the life force out of everything nearby, and now, looking like that, he stares you down with what appears to be teeth in his tongue. And then you kill him without breaking the sweat, and you're like, ha! What was I worried for? What a guy, honestly! But I gotta give him props for making an impact. And really, when you look at the fact that this guy, as a method of both hunting and defending himself, will go out of his way to deliberately cover you head to toe in a coat of flesh-eating bacteria. For me, this has to be one of the worst if this happened to me in real life. If I bumped into this monster in a dark alley, he wouldn't even have to open his mouth, and I'd be like, "Oh, whoa, Matt, take my wallet. I will give you the shirt off my back. Hell, would you even like my fiancé?"
What the fuck?
I'm just saying there is flesh-eating bacteria!
I don't fucking care!
Okay, but at least the first two things, without even thinking. It just... imagine being covered in effluvium. It's so easy to not really think too much about it when you're just playing the game. But your hunter is being eaten alive by tens of thousands of tiny organisms. Not to mention the rotten veil of which he holds dominion. Imagine actually being there. The squelch underfoot of rotten flesh, the snap of bone, the stench in the air, everywhere around you. Oh my god. No thanks, no way, no how. Number 3, from one skin taker to another, Scylla. I'm not great with spiders. I used to be unable to be in the same room as one. I've gotten better though, so that's not so much the big deal here. And don't get me wrong, she is one of the more physically Oh, monsters, her jittery movements, the jaws extending outwards, bursting with great globs of saliva as they snap together for a quick bisection attempt. Every single time I see a Scylla wind up that attack, I have an undeniable moment. But for me, it's the grim trophies. For me, the scariest thing about Scylla is walking into her nest while she's not even there. She kills Gypsaros.
That's good.
Then flays his skin and wears it like a new designer coat.
That's bad.
And then she takes the skinless corpse with her.
That's good.
And hangs them alongside many other morsels saved for later, upside down in a grim, webby trophy cabinet for all the world to see.
Ooh, that's bad.
Like, she's straight up Predator style. But ultimately, I think we can all agree, walking into what you realize to be a giant spider nest is one of the classical, oh no, scenario. And then realizing that the ground is all too soft, looking down and seeing that all stands between you and a pit of lava is the web that is going to keep you bound there until Scylla eats you alive. But more than that, there you are, bound, cursing your luck, and then drip, drop, blood splattering on your forehead. You panic, look up, and see many mutilated bodies, their red flesh visible throughout, swinging gently back and forth, and being faced with this overwhelming sense of dread. If that's not one of the biggest nopes you can imagine, then fucking hell, what is your imagination? Then, at number 2, we have ourselves Masukame. This one, then, is a rarely spoken about monster, a rarely remembered monster, but one that is wholly unique unto itself. A floating mossy mountain producing a light helium-esque gas throughout its body, keeping it in the air. It drifts, tentacles slowly flailing in the breeze. But it's not that too weird or anything like that, is it? So why is this one here? What gets me about this? Well, you might be like, oh, come on, when I say it, but it's the teeth. It's the teeth. Like, look at this mouth.
My shiny teeth that twinkle just like the stars in space. My shiny teeth that sparkle, adding beauty to my face. My shiny teeth that glisten just like a Christmas tree. You know they walk a mile just to see me smile. Woo!
Right? Nothing should open its mouth and have essentially human teeth in there. It's the most uncanny valley shit I've seen on a monster. It just looks wrong. It doesn't gel with your perception as a human. We are designed to find things repulsive that are almost like us, but not quite. And seeing that set of chompers on him just sets something off inside me. It just gives me this feeling of unease that I can't shake. And I might be in the minority here, but you know, it's my list, so whatever. I don't know why I needed Mickey for backup there. Yeah, it's his list, bitch. But if that's not doing it for you, well, get this. He has veritable swarms of insects living inside his mouth. He, let me just repeat that, has hives of tiny electrical generating thunderbugs living and reproducing and dying inside his mouth. Imagine having your mouth full of bees. And then imagine somebody's face if you went hi, opening wide, and the buzzing and the swarm, and it surges out of you. Understandably, they'd probably wet themselves.
So you see, that's where the trouble began. That smile. That damn smile.
It's not visually graphic, but then again, Monster Hunter isn't in general, but the imagery, yeah, it gets me. And honestly, I feel like Masukame needs more mentioning, and there's a lot of interesting stuff about him. Actually, I feel like I should lore him. I guess bottom line with Masukame, he's just the most Lovecraftian horror-esque creature in all Monster Hunter. But then, number one, it's Carcass. How could it not be? We know how unsettling the Rotten Vale would be to traverse. Well, this is a monster that creates his own mini rotting empire wherever he goes. You'd be walking along, minding your own business, when suddenly you're encased in blue mucus, slimy, sticking to every inch of your being, encased fast in a cold embrace, before a tentacle wraps around you. Not that tight! Wraps around you. The tentacle itself lined with bone, stringy bits of flesh still clinging, rotting, the stench filling your nostrils. You are dragged, unable to cry out or scream, your jaws locked together by the same mysterious substance. You must simply watch as daylight gives way to the shade of a cavern. You feel the rough ground give way as water licks at your back before the crunch of bone fills your ears. And you experience what it's like to be forcibly pulled through a graveyard filled to the brim with the bones of thousands of creatures collected over a slaughter spanning decades. Every step sending you closer to being eaten alive by what is to me the most terrifying maw in all of Monster Hunter, waiting to welcome you, waiting to grab hold, its fleshy appendages licking at you as the beak crushes, and you are split in twain, and life leaves your eyes. And you make your contribution to the Wyvern's end. Being pulled into what would feel like hell. You have to imagine it, guys. It's painted kinda, bright and it's okay in the game, but this is a fortress of bone. Just the smell. Hell, when your hunter gets covered in a ball of bone, imagine what that's like. Being encased in the remains of so many who have long since whimpered their last. It's one of those things that you would not wish upon your worst enemy. The fight itself, sure, isn't the most terrifying thing, but I really am taking, as you've probably noticed, a heavy, but what if it was real? What if I was there? Inspiration for this, and, well, sent to the black void of an Carcass lair to meet my fate. That, to me, is the worst end in all of Monster Hunter, so I have to give him the #1 spot. And thus, at the end, we arrive. Do you agree with my choices? What are your own? Have a great Halloween, and I will see you very soon. Like, enjoy, subscribe for more. A goodbye.